Hello everyone! Today's video is going to be my July wrap-up and my August TBR, and I have read, I think, pretty decent this month. Thanks to Booktubeathon, it bumped up my book count read for this month to 13, which I'm like a slower reader and kind of like slow paced. I can read fast, but I only read little bits at a time unless it's like really addicting. Then I kind of like will rush through it. But since I already talked about the books in Booktubeathon a million times, I do not want to mention them in this video, so I will link the video to my Booktubeathon wrap up down below, because I talked about the books, I rated them for you and did all that in that video. This is just going to be about the books that I read outside of that, starting with the bottom. The book that I didn't necessarily read all of, but I read the majority, but I finished it, I started it the last couple days in June, would be John Green's Looking for Alaska. I was expecting a lot when I picked up this Looking for Alaska, you know, and I was hoping for it to be really awesome, but I did not like this book, not that much. There were parts that I did enjoy it, and there were parts that I didn't, but overall I gave Looking for Alaska 3 out of 5 stars. I thought, more than anything, the characters occasionally bugs me, but it wasn't the characters, it was just the storyline. The storyline is what bothered me. At times, I thought it was really dull and slow paced, and then at other times, it moved so quickly, and then at other times, it just made no sense to me. I don't think the whole mystery portion of this, trying to figure out her, like, death, was kind of a little ridiculous, I think. I would have expected something maybe different out of it, and I did not. I mean, I thought it was kind of predictable. So that was my issue with the book, but I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So I finished this one. I then finished This Star Won't Go Out by Esther Earl, who also has, of course, Lori and Wayne Earl introduction by John Green. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars because as beautiful as this was, there were some times when I got kind of bored with it. And, yeah, I mean, I thought this was a beautiful story, though. It's such a, like, heavy book. These pages are really thick, I know why. But, it was gorgeous, totally worth it, and I do love it. I just probably will never reread it or anything. Then I picked up Betwixt by Tara Bray Smith. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars as well, and the only reason why I gave it 3, I would have given it 4 because it definitely was not a 5. I love I like the storyline. I like where the story was supposed to go. I like the purpose of the book. It's really far-fetched and it's really out there, and I enjoyed that. My biggest issue with this, and literally the only issue with this book, is the fact that it was so slow-paced. The main stuff didn't actually even start happening till like this far into the book. This is when things started getting real, okay? And that really bothered me because the story is amazing. I love the characters. I love Ondine, and I think she was really awesome. And I think that, who was the other one? Morgan was wicked, but she still has that, like, she could be nice, she could be bad type thing. You don't know where she's going. And my issue, though, was everything was dragged on. The father was a whole chapter on the father mowing the lawn and then sees his daughter. It took a whole chapter for that. Like, for him to fall down. And for everything to be explained, it took forever. And I thought that in the beginning of the book, it kind of touched up on these gifts that these people have. But they didn't actually, Tara didn't actually even really go in depth about their gifts that they have. It was just about how the majority of the book was the working up towards telling you what these kids can do and all this other stuff. Occasionally it would just kind of flash back to a moment that had happened, and that kind of bothered me too. But other than that, it was really good. If they do have a sequel, I will read it, just because I think, yeah, we're already in the world and we already understand what's going on. So if a part 2 comes out, I think it'd be much more fast paced and you're kind of already thrown into it. So I'm hoping that, but 3 out of 5. And I finished a book. It's actually a children's poetry book. It is Where the Sidewalk Ends, with the poems and drawings of Shel Silverstein. We got this for my nephew originally, but he didn't want it. So I was like, well, I will keep it. I love poetry. And I have to say there are so, I marked my favorite poems in here. Oh my god, this book was so beautiful, and I want to get the rest of them because they all kind of look like this now. They're all fancy. Really quickly, oh, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, by the way. Some of the poems in here are really like quirky and fun, and some of them are deeper than that, and some of them have life lessons. Some of them are just fun, like, you know, meant for entertainment. I just thought overall that this was an epic read. I want to read to you a poem just because it's my absolute favorite. Called Poor Angus. It's this one over here. Oh, what do you do, poor Angus, when hunger makes you cry? I fix myself an omelette, sir, of fluffy clouds and sky. Oh, what do you wear, poor Angus, when winds blow down the hills? I sew myself a warm cloak, sir, of hope and daffodils. Oh, who do you love, poor Angus, when Katherines left the moor? Ah, then, sir, then that's the only time I feel I'm really poor. Oh, it's just, it was just so cute and I love it. It's about 5 out of 5 stars. And then I read Hello, Goodbye by Emily Chenoweth. Yep, Emily Chenoweth. I gave this book, I want to say 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. I think it's 5 out of 5 because, okay, oh, this book is just so, like, perfect. The book follows a family, a mother, a daughter, and the father. And they are off on vacation type thing, but the mother has brain cancer. And the thing is the father has yet to tell the mother, who has the brain cancer, and the daughter just how serious the mother's brain cancer is. The doctors told him the only thing she has right now is hope. So don't tell her. Right now she's terminal. She's going to die within a few months. But they didn't want him to tell his wife, so maybe she could fight this, maybe last a little longer. You know, sometimes when people just are really down, that affects their health even more. So they wanted her to try to stay as healthy as possible. And so this family of 3 goes off to this beautiful, like, mansion resort, and they stay there for a week. And this book follows that week that they're there. And what I love about it is it's more than just a mother who has cancer and how it affects the family, because the daughter is a teen, you know, she's just gone into college. She's, I think, this is her, like, 2nd semester type thing, and she's growing up and she's becoming someone else, but she has all this burden. It's not burden, but she has all of this, like, heartache over her mom, but she's still trying to figure herself out, and she wants someone to care for her and all this other stuff. And then, you know, family friends go to visit them. You know, they're spending time all together. So it's kind of amazing. And I love the writing style. It's told in each of their perspectives. The mother's chapters tend to be much shorter. The daughters are the longer, and the father's chapters are like the medium length ones. And I love it because as it's talking, it'll suddenly go back to when, you know, they first had the conversation he's telling you about right now, when before she had cancer and when she found it out, and it's kind of revealed to you as you go along. But I thought this book was absolutely beautiful. It was a really quick read. I took a while to read it just because I was lazy after Booktubeathon. But this book is beautiful, and I just love that it's so much more than just cancer. It's, you know, things like that affect people on a million levels, and it's not just the one thing. So, I don't know, I thought it was just beautiful, so you should go read it. And the last book I read this month, well, actually I have one more to show you, but it's also my TBR. The last book I read this month was The Cypress House by Michael Koryta. 5 out of 5 stars. Oh my gosh, guys. This book was awesome. It's a period piece. It's based in 1935 in, like, South Florida. And it's just about a guy who can see when death is coming to certain people. If you're gonna die, he's gonna see you and either see smoke come out of your eyes, or he's gonna see you like a skeleton. So here he is, Arlen, with this boy named Paul, and they're going down to the Keys to look for work down there. They do, like, it's called the Triple C. I think they do, like, lumber and construction type thing, and he's a veteran. So he's with this young boy, Paul, and they're both trying to go down to the Keys, but they're on the train, and that entire train ride, Arlen sees all these people around him, and he sees that, okay, all these people are gonna die and I'm on the train with them. So when they finally make a stop, he gets off the train. He's like, I'm not going on. He lets everyone know. They think he's crazy. I mean, imagine, it's 1935. People are a little less forgiving back then in the day. So then he gets off the train, and the boy believes him. Paul's like, I'll stay with you if you really think it's gonna happen. So they start walking to a place that's 5 miles off, and then they get a ride from someone that sees them. And that ride, the ride that they get with that person, ends up leading into a big mystery, because here this man is giving them a ride, and then the next day he's like, well, I don't want you to go down to the Keys, so let's just drive with me and I'll take you somewhere else that's not there. We'll convince the boy later. So they do, and then they end up getting stuck at the Cypress House, which is a very small town in Koryta County. And, you know, the judge is a scumbag, the sheriff is a scumbag, and it leads them into a million things. It's so, like, it's so awesome, because it's not like the super fast-paced book, but it's literally, like, the genre of this book is period piece mystery thriller / sci-fi fantasy a little. It has, I mean, paranormal. It has, like, some paranormal in there. And it's awesome. I love mystery novels. They're definitely my favorite. I don't read them as much as I want to, just because they tend to be longer reads and more in-depth. So they kind of take more out of you to read. It's not something you can just like breeze over. But this book, I breezed over it. I read it in 3 days just because the first day I was lazy. The second day I read literally the majority of the book. The last day I read like 2 chapters because to finish it. But 5 out of 5 stars. I need to get more Michael Koryta. Sorry. Oh my god, this book was so good though. Now on to my TBR, but let me talk really quickly about the book that I've been reading. But it's a reread, so I'm not giving like all my attention to it. I'm just reading it here, reading it there, reading it. You know, I'll read a chapter after I like did, but I haven't read this in like a week and I want to keep reading it. I am rereading Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. I have not read this book since I think it's been like 5 years since I read the books. I read Twilight twice. I read the other ones only once. And I think I want to reread the whole series. But I want to keep, you know, I don't want to devote so much time to it because I don't want to read it as fast as I did. I read that whole series in a week when I first got it. So, you know, I kind of want to like relive those beautiful memories with my Twilight book. So I am on page 129. So I haven't made a huge dent in or anything, but I'm definitely going to start reading that tonight along with For a Divergent collection by Veronica Roth. I got this last month, but I wanted to read more of my like TBR, which obviously I didn't finish last month's TBR, but too bad because I already made a new one. So I'm going to read this in conjunction with this just because, you know, this is actually going to be a really short, fast read, but I'm so excited. I've been wanting to read it. You don't know how hard it was to like resist the urge to just read it really fastly. But I'm going to read this one. I am going to finish. This is after I read 4 because that's like the book I want to read the most before I read this. I'm going to finish the Millennium series because I had picked this out originally for my booktubeathon like series, but I didn't finish it because it was just too much to read. So I'm going to give myself the entire month to read these 2 books. You know, it's just, they're jam-packed and there's a lot of words on these pages. And there's a lot of pages in this book. So I'm going to finish The Girl Who Played with Fire. I'm already like 3 chapters in. Yep, I'm 3 chapters in on page 71. So I'm going to finish this and then read the last book, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. I really love this series so far. I'm hoping it doesn't disappoint. So these are like my main goals after 4. I need to finish these and I'm pretty sure I will. I'm going to tell you, after booktubeathon, I got very lazy. And then I'm going to read Matt Haig's The Dead Fathers Club because it's a nice little like short book, even though it has like a lot of writing and stuff. It's not a very long book and I'm really intrigued as to this. So, you know, it's kind of knocked down a TBR book. And if I have more than enough time, I want to read An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. I was going to start this one first, but then I was like, no, I really want to read 4. Yeah, we'll see. And that is it for the, you know, wrap up / TBR. Next month, I'm going to start incorporating my little jar because I have like a million to be read books and I choose some, but I'm going to just start picking some at random. So I have my little drawer with the papers. It took a while to make that too because I have a lot of books to write down. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye!